Tyrus makes his move. It's quiet. Blitz playing behind the smoke in red room. Mazzinho playing against the wall over in Donut.
Tyrus getting the opening frag here for BC Game, so 5v4. In terms of a step towards double figures is a great move, but 10 hunts down the trade and gets it right back to a 4v4.
Yeah, but look how much it's weak on the other side of the map. The B defense only has one single player here. Mongols very concerned about the A bomb site. Centralized at the moment with 3 players scrambling to get to the right position. Blitz now shifting over. Nade, smoke, and Molotov he can deploy.
Oh, the Util goes flying in. Tech now just gonna wait here in the middle of the site. That nade break not going the way we would have hoped. And now Techno actually gets flanked around the back here. Crazy comes in at the right time. Low HP, out of bullets. Blitz gets caught, pushed in. Crazy's got another, and they back off. The Mongols not really finding as much success as they would hope, but they're going back into it now.
Look at the HP.
Yeah, that's the big issue here for BC Game. This still could close here and now. No kits at all here for the Mongols. They're going to start moving in. There's the low HP. They nearly lined up, but Crazy doing great work in this round. Cobra Zera not going to win this one, even despite the low HP. It will be BC Game coming out on top. A 10th round picked up and 2 rounds away from getting this one into overtime.
Okay, so you're going to be at 10 to 12. You're going to be 2 rounds back, and this will be another round of the Mongols with the losing bonus not fully built up. They'll be getting 2,900. So you have to imagine a small buy, 5-7s, Deagles. So another great chance for BCG to close the gap and take this to the final round of regulation with overtime on the line. Really cool stuff down the stretch and finding ways to get some kills on the other side of the map and then exploit things. They've managed to find the weakened bomb site. Mutiris here on Ancient has not called a bad game on this T side whatsoever. He's been able to move them around the map and find some weakened sites a number of times. This one, again, based off of his own hard work, his own opening kill provided. And even though the defense shifts back, you can see the supportive players are blocked off by smoke, so only one player in the bomb site with too much to worry about. Easy opening kill as Crazy just waltzes out for free.
There's the push out on Matiras. He himself one. Mzinho and Cobra getting a few back, and really like this, it's been such a hard fight to get to this point of the game. We were just talking about the winning conditions here for BC Game. The fact that this was a round that surely they would be able to win and get into the final round of regulation. But all of a sudden, it's Simple and Aragorn trying to fight their way out in a 2v3. Aragorn a long fight, but eventually taking Cobra out.
It's the second time we've seen someone from the Mongols screw up that double door smoke.
Yeah. And now the Mongols don't have better weapons. They're sitting on pistols, a 5-7 and a Deagle. Blitz is on the flank. He's done this before. They're coming back towards him. Simple timing, looks away, gets back in time, and the Tech 9 takes down Blitz immediately. So now what happens? Does 9-10 think they're just going to go to the A site? And it's a great call.
Just flip a coin.
Just hold it, because they look like they're staying committed right now.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta make a decision if you're 9-10. It almost feels like with 40 seconds on the clock, like there's no way. It's gonna be so hard to gather the information you need. But being centralized allows him at least to react to both sides of the map. And now, if he's able to get to the jump up, yeah, allows him the guns.
2 mollies there as well. Oh, the timing on the arrival. He's gonna spot him. Goes for the shot. Now they know where he is. They're gonna move in comfortably.
I think taking that shot might have just ruined the opportunity here. Now they have complete knowledge of where he can come from.
Not too far off that of the spam, and I think 9-10 realizes that as well, Jason. The fact that they just run in and they could be anywhere in the site now. So gonna back away with an AK and 2 pieces of utility, and it will be down to the final round of regulation here.
All right, yeah, things are gonna get a little bit weird. So full losing bonus is built up. Mongols are gonna have as much money as they want. 9-10 will be able to drop an AWP over because of the saved AK-47, or keep the AK or the AWP for himself. Excuse me, drop the AK over. But Mongols, this has become way more of a test than they wanted it to. 5 in a row for BC Game to bring this all the way to round 24. Final round of regulation. It's a series victory for the Mongols, or we move into overtime.
Yeah, Simple top fragging at 20 kills, but he's not alone. He's got Crazy and he's got Aragorn, who are playing well.
Neither of the coaches call a timeout as well going into this final deciding round. Gonna let the players play. BC Game lining up 4 players headed towards the B bomb site. Early smokes and utility down in Red Room in the B bomb site over at Cave entrance, extinguishing a Molly and lane. They've got positions very, very fast and a lot of forces leaning towards B.
Yeah, just running in. It's going to be Aragorn up towards the top of the ramp. We've got Techno who takes Materas down. And now we're looking at a 5v4. It's Aragorn who's come through with a great shot. Blitz is out of there. Needs a follow-up. Can he get it? No. Mzinho stops him. And the Mongols now a 4v3, looking to hold on and close out this series.
Other side of the map, we've already seen Crazy move into the A bomb site. He needs this kill on 910, who's not aware. Nobody's aware.
Oh, no one is aware at all. This is massive from Crazy. Can he get away with this? Crazy's AK coming out in reaction from Mzinho. Crazy is going to be kicking himself that he couldn't make more of that. Now Simple and Electronic having to figure it out together. And this duo from years and years ago, but nowhere near the power that they used to be at, and they're going to be dropped. Cobra through the smoke, Simple gone, Electronic on 19 HP. They give it a good go on the comeback, but BC Game will fall 2-0 versus the Mongols in their opening game of PGL Bucharest 2026.
Mongols takes the win, but I do want to say we were very tough on BC Game after Dust 2, and we kind of we were whipping that dog quite hard. And
there was a thorough paddling that took place on the desk.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
This was a good game.
This was good. I mean, BC Game to me looked so much more impressive. I immediately was like, okay, Simple, you don't have to retire. I take it back. Like, it felt a little bit more cohesive. So maybe it was just a matter of we haven't played an official for a while, a little bit of a warm-up on Dust 2, but I think there's some positives to take away from what we saw in Ancients.
Yeah, I mean, I think the positives I would take away are, one, you are seeing those flashy moments from Simple at times where he's hitting those quick scope shots and making those big impactful moments happen. And I think also, generally speaking, the team seems like well set up on how they open rounds. I think the pitfalls have been they're a little bit indecisive or disjointed in some of the mid-round situations. Yet they were able to counter that in the second half by really just punishing any mistake that Mongols made, as well as catching any aggression that Mongols tried to throw at them. Like, they were really good about being well prepared for Mongols trying to disrupt them or going for plays. But you saw so many other rounds though where they get control of the site, and it's just like they're struggling to get the bomb down. They're struggling in the post plant. You know, Mzinho's ace is a big example of that. And so it's like you're seeing both sides of it. You're seeing the potential, but you're also seeing where the pitfalls still are on this team.
Yeah, I want to give some props to Aragorn. You know, people have said he has nothing to offer on this team. First half, 14-7. CT side, he was a huge factor in them being competitive in the first half. Obviously, could have maybe done better. I think that's what you're talking about. It's like there's some rounds where they didn't get the streak rolling right at any point. It was just like a single round here and there, and that made it quite difficult. But in the end, even 12 up for Mongols, they didn't give up. They made a really good comeback in that last round. Honestly, they had an opening, they had an idea of what they wanted to do, but it didn't really pan out in the end. So it's quite a tough pill to swallow, the way that last round ended up for them.
For sure. I thought that the calling was also quite good, specifically on the T side for BC Game.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think they did a really good job, A, countering Mongols' aggression, B, anytime Mongols overextended, they were able to capitalize on it, and I think, thirdly, they were able to get on the sites. Like, they got onto the A bomb site multiple times, either with, like, a lurker or with a full squad, creeping out, or with, the basic smokes and just moving together as a unit, but while they had those portions of the rounds really well crafted, I think they just, again, they get a little bit disjointed in the mid-round situations, or how to handle, some of the chaotic moments in the post-plant. Those are still some of the things that have not been polished yet. And a team like Mongols, where the core of the squad has been together for so long, they have all these protocols and thoughts really well constructed. BC Game just doesn't have that same level to them. I
think we're going to get a chance to see that ace. That was a good time, right? I'm presuming it's going to come up on your highlights now.
Yeah, this is the one
here. And then, again, this is one of the rounds where BC Game actually did have a pretty good grasp of the site, and they were getting some good kills because Mongols were trying to kind of peek one by one. They were catching those kills and punishing those mistakes, but then Mzinho is able to, pop off in a big way from Donut and wind up with the ace as well. It's just, Simple kind of being disjointed in that round, as I think you were kind of telling me about this in the green room, where it's like, it just seems like they have maybe too many ideas going on at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I think overall this map also shows the two sides of Mongols, right? And on Dust 2, they're making these plays and everything was working out. When you're disrespecting your opponent and you're hitting the shots, then it feels like, the other side has nothing to do. On this map, it felt like they were trolling, but they were doing the same thing that they were doing on Dust 2. They were just losing some of these duels. Like that round that Mzinho had to ace to win, it was like two guys sitting in Donut, kind of chilling, we're chilling, we're letting them do what they want, we're gonna retake, and the rest of Mongols being like, let's just peek one by one, and they all died. And they did enough damage to make that Mazinho thing possible. I know in retrospect it was like, oh my god, you just died to one guy in cave. But it was also trading on another team that was there, half of them were low. So obviously, Mazinho showed some good individual skill, very high, and that's something that I think BC Game doesn't really have, can't match that. And 2 rounds after that, Techno with a 3K in cave as well. Kind of similar situation. That X factor is something that, BC Game couldn't match really.
Let's talk about the first half. I want to take you back there, Prof. I know that you have 2 rounds specifically that shows some of the positives from BC Game.
Yeah, I wanted to show just because in the pre-game, I was like, I don't think BC Game will be able to hold mid if Mongols go for it, but in reality they really did. They opened like after Mongols had a big lead, they opened a few rounds with 3 in mid, and even despite losing the opening kill, they managed to win the round, take control of mid, and just close out from there. But we also saw some of these moments like Cobra Zero just like YOLO running up short without any care in the world, dying, right? And the same thing happened like 2 rounds later. Again, 3 people opening mids. It was simple and crazy, usually the trio. And they dealt with Mongols quite successfully. So I think these are some positives to take away from BC Game.
Yeah, I mean, I think coming into the game, you kind of felt like there would be a mismatch at middle, right? You look at someone like Blitz, who's always been very comfortable as an aggressive playmaker middle on both sides of the map, going up against a guy like Muterus, who isn't so well known for being a high-level fragger, for honestly, more known than the value is calling. And they were able to make some things happen. So, I mean, again, like you're seeing, I think if you had to kind of sum it all up, I feel like the early round thought processes of this BC Game team is totally fine. I think the roles they've established make sense with what players they have, but it's just about those finer details when you get to the leads of the mid-round that they still haven't quite figured out yet.
So very interesting, just before we move on to the next game, both of you got to do some predictions leading up into this particular event at PGL Bucharest, and I believe both of you put BC Game in the playoffs. What's that about, boys?
Here's the thing. Once you get past like the first kind of 5 to 6 teams that are expected to make the playoffs, which would be Paravision and Mongols, Flit, Astralis, Legacy's kind of in that mix, Bates kind of in that mix. The last like 2 to 3 spots are very much up in the air with all the different replacement teams we've had come in, with some of the facts that some of these teams are a little bit weaker internationally, even if they're doing good things domestically, like an MRBR or Energy, for example. And so you kind of have to throw a Hail Mary at those last 2 spots, right? And yeah, I mean, I think for us picking BC Game, I can't speak for Prof, he can, in a second. It's just like, I had
thinking that is going to work. I think that was my my thinking going in the BC Game, and just like lack of any exciting names from, you look at wildcards, maybe eyeballers can do something, but even in Sweden I wouldn't put them in, the favorites. Alliance have been doing much better. So, looking at it, let's give Simple a shot. I think they can do something.
The Harlem Globetrotters, maybe we'll be presenting them in the playoffs. They still have a long way to go. Obviously losing their first game, they still have an opportunity, though, to claw it back. Mongols will be very happy with that win. I mentioned that Mongols was one of the favorites. Another team that everyone is banking on is, of course, Paravision, and we'll get to see them up against Legacy after this.
She said she loves you, but she can't love me.
But I love you!
I won't play window anymore.
What's going on?
Play your role. 1xbet. The human body was built to move, not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you. Gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
You're watching PGL Bucharest and you saw the ad a little bit earlier, but I'm going to remind you to make sure you get your tickets for the Singapore Major. It looks sick. I'm so hyped for that one. I think it's going to be one hell of a show at the end of the year. But we have a hell of a show on our hands here because we get to see a team that has risen from nowhere and is now arguably contesting for one of the top 4 spots in the world, Paravision. They are here at PGL Bucharest, and JM and the boys, what a surprise they've been. They really came out of nowhere and impressed us so much.
Yeah, I mean, I remember even the major last year, them qualifying some people. Like, these guys didn't play anything except like some local tournaments and online stuff. They even deserve to be here. Then at the major, they kind of proved they're decent. They're a decent team. They're not, you know, just some slouches. And then picked up Zway, who was relieved of his duty in Spirit. And this year, they've just been literally a top 3 team in the world. So it's been a great addition, especially with some of the big dogs fumbling, to have someone like a new old team, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing to kind of follow up that with is that they prove that they're not some one-hit wonder. I mean, I think a lot of people had that question when they won Bounty because there were so many weird circumstances around that. It's a different format. You know, Falcons didn't have their full 5. You know, you can
It's
kind of...
also like, let's be honest, that was such a warm-up tournament.
First-
No one-
Yeah, exactly,
event
that
of the
too.
year.
Taking that.
And so the question would be is, well, how are they going to follow that up? And, well, they didn't follow it up very well. Krakow, they come in dead last place. And so you start to wonder, maybe Bounty was a bit of a fluke. But what they have done at PGL Cluj-Napoca and that run that they had to the finals of that event and what they were able to do in Rotterdam to place top 4 has proven that that one-hit wonder business is no longer the case. This is a team that has some real staying power. You know, but it's done in kind of a weird way because there's not really any big-name star player on this team like you see in other top 5 teams in the world. They've done it by committee, and they have done it through the system and the oversight that Jamin Dawson has brought to the table to make this team effective with what pieces they do have.
They're very inconsistent, though.
Yeah, they have this, how would I say, I mean, we saw it just in the results. One win, then crash out, then, you know, second place, then crash out at EPL, then semi-final, pretty close game against Navi, and
must work together. Come on, come on. Counter-terrorists win. Forward! I'm waiting here. Terrorists win. Yes, yes, yes! Together we can do this. Let's throw it away. Terrorists win. You think you can kill us? Guys, I tell you, we kill them all. Flashbang! Watch out, sniper! Grenade out! Terrorists win. I fear no man. We must win. I'm throwing a flashbang. One left. Terrorists win. We cannot be killed. There's not so much for dumb button. Berlin, I need help here. They've gotten away. I'm throwing a flashbang. remove any doubts in your head. It's us or them. Move it, son. Counter-terrorists win. Oh, it's a piece of cake, so it is. Let's go.